Ramos spoke for the first time today about the criticism he's received since the Champions League final. Unrepentant, I think, is a good way to describe it. Bloody hell, it's all been blown out of all proportion. I didn't want to talk, but everything gets magnified. Salah pulls my arm first and I fall on the other side. He continues that then when his other arm is injured, they say that I've done a judo move on him. Then the goalkeeper says he's concussed after a clash with me. Now it only needs Firmino to say he got the flu as a drop of my sweat fell on him.
Well, actually, that could be tomorrow's story.
It could be.
Firmino, I mean, has anybody checked that he actually hasn't got the flu?
I know. Send him.
I think he's fed up with it as well. Did the Spaniard say bloody hell?
No, he said another word which we can't quite translate. I think we've diluted it.
Look, I think he's just... Obviously, he's the guy, the central figure, right? Well, one of the central figures here. And even he's now got a World Cup to play in. Can't we just stop talking about this? But it just seems to have ballooned, particularly this Karius story that popped up yesterday, where he's been to Boston and had an examination, blah, 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 and the results are there for everybody to see. And I think he's just tipped him over the edge as well.
But he could have quite easily come out and said, look, I'm sorry for everything that's happened, but that's football. Let's move on. But he hasn't really, has he?
No, and I don't have a problem with what he's done. You know, he's been around a long time. And he knows if he tries to apologise, people will jump on him for that. So what does he do? He just beats himself and takes the mickey out of it. And I'm glad he did, because I'm getting sick of it as well. Everybody keeps saying, why do they keep asking me what I think about everything all the time? I mean, the guy fouled Salah, but that's it. As far as the goalkeeper, there was an official there that should have seen it, didn't see it, and that's the end of it. So I don't get all this.
But as I said, he seems unrepentant in the fact that he seems to have given Karius a concussion.
Oh my God, he hasn't broken his leg in a compound fracture and the bone sticking out. It happens.
Mara's got to come in. So what do? Do you take out Fernandinho, therefore you can keep Coutinho, he'll come a little deeper, Willian on the right, then Neymar on the left, or do you take out Coutinho or Willian and then bring in Neymar?
I think the man that will be taken out will be Paulinho. I think you'll be looking at Fernandinho and Casemiro, along with those three up front. If they're playing the qualifying games and they're playing against teams that we know they're going to comfortably beat, then I think he goes with an attacking lineup. I think against your Germanys and your Spains, you might look at three defensive midfielders, and then that completely changes the whole outcome.
Or three what you would call natural midfielders, which
right.
You wouldn't really say Coutinho is. I mean, he plays in there, but he's not what we would consider a natural, strong midfielder. Neymar would probably slip in there, as Stevie said, and when they're playing the weaker teams, he can probably have carte blanche to do what he wants. But against the better teams, I think you'll see a less attacking, if that is the case, Brazilian side.
If you like. A couple of things that stand out, Darky. Alisson instead of De Gea, and no room for Cristiano Ronaldo.
Well, look, it's like being let loose in a candy store, isn't it, trying to pick this? I think we can only pick the World Cup 11, the real one, when we've seen the World Cup. But look at those three up front. Come on. I mean, it's a terrific lineup, and I just think that is a great blend with Griezmann, who's a player I absolutely love watching. Top scorer at Euro 2016, and he might be at this World Cup
So you've got
as well.
Salah over Cristiano Ronaldo, Ian.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're assuming that Mo Salah is going to be fit. And we're talking about players who are 100% fit. The guy is in absolutely magnificent form. And I think in that team, he would score a stack full of goals. And Cristiano Ronaldo, maybe he's a year past his best now.
Wow.
Hold on.
I knew that'd get you going.
Yeah, well, you hate Real Madrid. Where's Neymar?
Well, I've gone for Salah. So,
I've Salah over Neymar.
We're picking, aren't we, among great footballers? So
Neymar,
it's something for you to debate.
Griezmann over Neymar and Salah over Neymar.
Yep. At this stage of the game, because Neymar's just coming back from a long injury.
Oh, hold on, Salah's injured. Salah's injured.
Yeah, but he's only been injured for a couple of weeks, and he's and he's had the season of all seasons, hasn't he?
And no Marcelo either.
No.
Ian, you really hate Real Madrid.
Jordi Alba's been absolutely brilliant this season for Barcelona, and I think Marcelo goes for walkabout at times, and he might leave you a little bit
What
vulnerable
about
down that side.
Kante? You've got Kante in there for Chelsea in France. Didn't have a great season really as Chelsea did. What about Casemiro? What about Casemiro? What about Cruz? What about Paulinho? What about Fernandinho at Man City?
Hang on, Kroos is in the team.
Oh, sorry.
Kroos is in the team.
My eyes are not great. I'm reading. What about Fernandinho at Man
Conte had
City?
a very good. Conte was the one player who did have a very good season.
Who was better,
at Chelsea.
Conte or Fernandinho at Man City?
Well, that's a good. Yeah,
I've got you.
Fernandinho being the argument, but Conte for me.
Come on. I've got you there.
Why am I the guy picking this team?
You're the only one who responded to the email. That's what you learned.
These two have opted out of it, and all they're doing is sitting, sniping at it.
I think that's a good team.
Oh my goodness.
It's a good. What's wrong with it?
Mourinho is clearly in the mood to get his business done early. Manchester United have announced the signing of Brazilian midfielder Fred from Shakhtar Donetsk. He was linked with a move throughout last season, but wise to get it done before the World Cup, Stevie?
Yeah, I think so. Listen, the guy's a talent, and if Brazil do win the World Cup and he plays a major part, then that 50 million that they've paid for him, we believe, could end up being 60 or even 70. So, yes, I think it's a smart move. The guy is a talent. The guy's a player. He makes them better. He's better than Fellaini. In my opinion, he's better than Herrera as well. So, absolutely an upgrade for United.
Is it offering a little bit of dynamism to that midfield? And one of the criticisms was they didn't have much legs in midfield. You see that as a big part of what he brings?
Absolutely. You know, the only thing this guy doesn't do is score goals, really. But United, in that position in the middle of the park, are looking for somebody to shut things down, and then when they get the ball, open them up. He does both.
Okay, so Manchester United making the moves early. Fred is a Manchester United player now, as they continue to rejig that midfield ahead of a busy season to try and close the gap and obviously challenge for the title. We'll see how he goes in the World Cup. Paul Pogba's responded to some criticism that he's been suffering throughout the season with some strong statements regarding his personality. He's made comments in light of some of the criticism. People can't tell me how I have to play, he says. No one can tell me how I have to play. If I'm in this position today, it's by being like this. It's my football, that's all. People either love it or not. What's your take on that, Stevie?
Unfortunately, Pogba's a character that attracts attention. And when you are transferred for a huge sum of money, then that attention will stay on you. And if you keep attracting it, when you're not quite at your best, then you're going to receive criticism. And that's all that's happened to this guy. At Juventus, he got all the praise because of what he did on the field. People love the way he does his hair, and they love his personality. And all that's great when things are going well, but when things are not going so well, it can be a distraction and it can affect you. And I think there's no question, he's saying it's not affecting him. I think it is affecting him. What he's doing with all the other stuff off the field, and even when he's on it, trying to fan down and show little pieces of, well, things he shouldn't be doing in the middle of the park, then he's going to get criticism. And right now, he deserves it.
If he keeps reacting in this way, it's going to perpetuate the criticism. And if you're right, it's going to lead to worse performances, surely.
Unless he turns it on the field of play every single time he steps on the field of play. And again, I go back to the huge sum that he came for to Manchester United. When you have a Messi and you have a Ronaldo, these guys, every single time they step on the field, they produce it. They've been doing this for years, a decade, both of them. Pogba's got a long way to go to be able to get away with stuff, particularly that Ronaldo does off the field. He needs to get it done on the field first, and then shows what he's got off the field.
Just one question on the ambition side. It seems as if he's saying, I've kind of achieved, what I set out to do, and anything that I achieve is going to be based on my personality and showing myself like this, so it doesn't look like he's going to change.
That's not great from a desire point of view. He probably should have said, I want to get better every time I step on the field, something along those lines. Unfortunately, he's come across again as a little arrogant and as if as if he's made it. That's not great. That's not a good position to be in as a professional footballer.
Did Zinedine Zidane really quit over the transfer targets of Eden Hazard and David De Gea at Real Madrid? This report surfacing, Stevie. Did it come down to that?
I think it may have done, yes. You know, Zidane, although Zidane's been the manager for 3 seasons, he's been in an awful lot longer than that. So he knows the workings and certainly how Perez thinks and how he deals with the transfer policy. And if I'm Zidane, the only thing he has to lose now is his reputation. And so if he's going to have no say on who comes or who goes, it's going to affect what happens on the field and his reputation. Zidane's in a position where he doesn't need the job, he doesn't need the money, he can look after himself. I think he's looking after himself.
It's a pretty short-sighted view from Perez, if that is the case, isn't it? Because you know the personality that Zidane is. You know that he's going to want to have that say. You know the squad needs rebuilding, so why not bring him into it?
Regardless of who the manager is or has been at Real Madrid, Perez is the almighty as far as he's concerned. So anything he thinks should be done will be done, regardless of what the current coach or manager thinks. And Zidane is just basically saying, you know what, I don't really need this. Oh, and by the way, there's a little matter of a French job that probably is going to be coming up shortly, so maybe that had something to do with it as well.
Just on De Gea and Hazard, the 2 players who've been mentioned in this report, which one of the 2, if you had to take one, would you take in their predicament?
Wow. Both.
Or maybe if Real Madrid had taken that opinion, that Zidane may still be the manager, but he's not. And obviously Real Madrid have a big job over the summer to rebuild or tweak that squad. First of all, the manager search.